Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy, Brother Given HD here today. In today's video, I have finally beat Assassin's Creed 2 for the very first time. And it was a good story. I'm not going to lie. I actually enjoy Ezio as one of the main assassins within the franchise as a whole. And that's saying a lot for somebody who technically, I know I might get roasted for the comments, might get roasted in the comments for this, but I played Unity, I've played Syndicate, I've played the newer generation of Assassin's Creed, and I don't know. I just kind of came in a little bit too late, but after finally sitting down and playing Assassin's Creed 2 for the very first time, Ezio's a main character. He has my respect. And that's saying a lot considering the fact that me coming into playing Assassin's Creed 2 this many years later pretty much shows you that I probably just wanted a good Assassin's Creed game overall. And I'm like, you know what? I'll just sit down and play Assassin's Creed 2. And the story blew me away. Sure, it just might be a generic revenge story, but it's more than a generic revenge story. It's the birth of an assassin. It is the birth of Ezio Auditore, which I might end up butchering his last name, but better topic at hand. Seeing Ezio grow into this assassin as you progress through the story, and seeing the death of his father and brothers by the hands of the Templar as well as the Ponzi family, sets up Ezio for a pretty good revenge plot. I'm not going to lie, but near the very end, he kind of has a change of heart. He realizes what he's doing is not going to bring back the ones that he lost. And I'll get into that later on. But seeing the Ponzi family being a little bit of a pawn within the story of Assassin's Creed 2 sets up the bigger picture for the Templars later on as soon as you go to Florence. And it really does show. From technically the first assassination of the Ponzi family going to, I think his name was, I forget. It was Francesco's son. Vieri. That's what his name was. Vieri. Sorry if I'm doing it like that. It's kind of, I guess I'm just doing it a little bit over with the Italian thing. But Vieri was the very first Ponzi member that you do end up taking out. And he was kind of like Ezio in a way. He was a little bit naive, a little bit hot-headed, and just wanted to do the things the way he wanted to do them. And I kind of saw that in Ezio in a way. He wanted revenge. He wanted to go after the Ponzi family as well as the Templars because of the fact that they took away his father, they took away his brothers, and he was left to defend his mother and his sister respectfully. But thankfully, his uncle does end up coming into the picture, and that's saying a lot because while Ezio is running to the countryside to start a new life, he ends up running into Venere, which technically leads into a fight, and the uncle ends up coming in and saving Ezio and brings him to the estate and tells him, like, look, Ezio, your fighting skills, they're absolute dog shit. I'm not going to lie to you. Stay here with me and I can train you. I can help you take and finish up what your father started. And Ezio's like, no, man, like, I don't want to do anything with this shit. I don't want to do anything with it. I just want to move on, protect my mother and my sister, and just go on that way. And the uncle's like, no, dude, you can't do that shit. You need to finish what your father started. Eventually, Ezio has a change of heart and pretty much says, all right, where do we start? And eventually it does open up the path of a lot of assassinations, I should say. It does end up opening up a lot. From Venere being the very first assassination of the Ponzi family, going to, I think his name was the very last Ponzi member, which was Jacopo. I think that's how you pronounce it, right? Jacopo? Jacopo? Something like that. And seeing him and taking him out, you kind of feel bad for the guy. You kind of feel bad for him in a way. Because it was like, even though he was the head of the Ponzi family, just seeing him like on the floor dying, it kind of just made me feel like, wow, the Spaniard and the Templars do not give a shit. But you know, if you fail, the outcome is not going to be great. And that's what the Ponzi family did. The Ponzi family ended up failing, taking out Ezio. Ezio eradicated the whole Ponzi family. And that is saying a lot. The fact that he was able to take down a whole entire family of bankers single-handedly in a way, with the help of his uncle, of course, shows something that puts fear within the Templars in some way, like surprise, but as well at the same time, they are shocked. And you really see this when you go to Florence and you're following the remaining Templars, the actual members of the Templar Order, and they're like, are you serious? You're telling me that the assassin is here in Florence? I thought the Ponzi family took care of him. I was like, nah, man, the Ponzi family didn't do shit. If anything, the assassin took their ass out before they could take him out. And they're like, shit. We need to literally get with the Spaniard, try to figure this shit out, and come up with a plan, because we're next on the chopping board. We're the next ones on his list of revenge that he is going to come after. And shortly after that, we do end up taking down our first Templar within Florence by the name of Emilio. And that whole entire assassination mission kind of pissed me off in a way, I'm not gonna lie. But I do end up taking him out, and Emilio, he's not afraid of death. He's accepted his fate, and he's pretty much like, I'm ready to accept my death. I'm not afraid to die. I know what I did was wrong, but I've accepted that. And I'm like, shit. It's like, out of all the Templars that technically that you end up killing up to this point, as well as the Ponzi family, respectfully, I'm like, shit. He kind of has my respect. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, even though you only get this small interaction with him, you kind of just like, wow, he's the only Templar in some way that pretty much gained my respect, because he knew that this was coming. He knew this was his fate. This was his destiny, to die by the hands of Ezio. And later on after that, we end up going on and taking on the rest of the Templar, which is a pretty good one. Some of the assassinations are a hit or miss in some ways, but let me talk about the people that, that are helping Ezio, like Volpe, I think his name was Volpe. Yeah, Volpe is one of them, as well as Antonio and Bartolomeo. These individuals, you're helping them out at the same time while you are taking out members of the Templar Order at this time. And they're training you to be an assassin. And I really do not know that until you confront the Spaniard for the very first time, and I'm like, okay, that would have been nice to know ahead of time. But then yet again, the game is called Assassin's Creed 2. But at the time, I didn't think the assassins were technically established yet within Florence. I didn't think that, because all I just know is that I'm I'm getting sent missions from Antonio, Bartolomeo, even Antonio's right hand individual, and you kind of just see it. It kind of pieces together in some way, especially when Ezio sees this girl scaling the building, but she ends up getting an arrow shot in her leg. And at that point, it's like Ezio's like, okay, he's like, I want to learn how to climb the walls. And there's a whole little climbing segment and everything, like a whole sequence of you doing that. But at the same time, it's very interesting to see that through your journey of playing Ezio, he's not just growing as an assassin, but you're growing there alongside with him. The fact that it's been 10 years or so, 10 plus years, somewhere around there, give or take, that Ezio's been doing this his whole life. He's been taking out the Templar, eradicated the Ponzi family, and it took him 10 years. But 10 years too long in some way. But through those 10 years, you see Ezio grow. You see him become this assassin that the Templars freaking fear in some way. And that is saying something. But the Spaniard, on the other hand, he doesn't fear Ezio. He doesn't fear him because he's just a rookie assassin. He's nothing to be afraid of. He's nothing to have fear of towards Ezio because Ezio's just a naive assassin. He's just a rookie, right? It's like, how much can a rookie do? It's like, shit. He took out the Ponzi family. He took out a majority of the freaking Templar Order, for crying out loud. Obviously with the help of his uncle and the assassins within the assassins of Italy, with the brother with the little brotherhood at first, but eventually I guess it ends up becoming expanding with Ezio going in the Brotherhood and later being reintroduced in Revelation. But I've not gotten to those games yet, so like I said at the beginning of this video, but Ezio's journey was a good one. It was a great one. And the Spaniard, when you finally confront the Spaniard for the last time within Assassin's Creed 2, it was a trippy experience. He just literally grabs the Apple of Eden and uses Shadow Clone Jutsu in a way. And that's kind of weird for me to say that, but you end up taking down the Spaniard and you think you take him out, right? You have him with the blade, you have him down on your arms, and all of a sudden it breaks out of that memory corridor, and I'm like, shit. I'm like, you're serious? It's like, now I gotta go chase this dumbass all over again, and I pretty much end up confronting the Spaniard one last time, and Ezio tells Spaniard, dead on, with balls, alright, no weapons, no cheap tricks, no staff, no hidden blades, no gauntlets, nothing. We're gonna do this hand-to-hand fucking combat. I'm like, what the hell? Are you serious? You're telling me Ezio wants to literally whoop the shit out of the Spaniard within hand-to-hand combat. And I kind of just cheaply abused the grab mechanic and just literally repeatedly grab him, just beat the shit out of him over and over again until the cutscene ends up triggering. And after all that bullshit, after taking out the fucking Templars, eradicating the Ponzi family, growing to become this assassin through Florence as well as Italy that the Templar have feared, as well as the Ponzi just literally having to get eradicated for just being in the way for obvious reasons. In the end, Ezio literally looks at the Spaniard and tells him, killing you is not gonna bring my father or my brothers back. And he just lets him go. And I'm like, what the fuck? Are you dead ass? You're telling me You went through this whole entire journey, this whole entire bullshit, seeing your brothers, and your father being hanged, to literally taking out the Ponzi family to let the Spaniard live. I'm like, at the end, it's like, what the hell, Ezio? But at the same time, I'm like, I can kind of understand that. You know what I mean? It's like, he finally came to the conclusion. He finally came to his senses that everything that he has done up to this point has technically changed a whole lot for Florence and Italy for as of right now, as of currently. But letting him go, letting the Spaniard go, and continuing to just move on is something that I've never seen within the Assassin's Creed franchise. It's something that I have never seen. Seeing the main villain, the main antagonist of your main character being spared, being let go, is something within the Assassin's Creed franchise that I have never seen. And that literally blew my mind. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I've played Syndicate, I've played Unity. None of the targets, none of the people that have intervened with the main character's life ever lived to see another day. But Ezio's different. He spared the Spaniard's life. Not for vengeance, but I guess in a way for forgiveness. In a way, I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. But I enjoyed Assassin's Creed 2. It was a phenomenal story, and I'm excited to play Brotherhood and Revelations in that order and see where the story continues. Where does Ezio's journey take me next? Who are my next greatest targets, and who's the next Templar I'm possibly going to take out? But it's been your boy Brotherhood Gaming HD, everybody, and if you are new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe, like, hit them bell notifications, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out, and goodbye, everybody.